Well, yeah, I wasn't expecting to do a another podcast so soon after last night's great show. Yeah, look there you have it next to the Medieval Times advertisement there. E3 2023 has been canceled. Wow. Let's get to it. Let's get into this news story right now. Hey, what's up, everyone? Do me a quick favor. Smash that like button, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe and hit the bell notification so you are alerted when we go live. And as I mentioned in the intro here, I really wasn't anticipating or planning to do a podcast today, but breaking news. We got breaking news, and it's E3 2023. And we talked about this on BRAP last night. If you didn't check out BRAP last night, definitely check out last night's show. Great show. We had Lono, Reforge Gaming. We had Oh No, It's Alex on. We had Gaming Logic on, and it was just a great show. A lot of great conversations around the Diablo 4 open beta, the U.S. Congress writing a letter complaining about the struggles of Xbox in Japan, and then we talked about E3. We actually did talk about E3 because there were some reports yesterday circulating that Ubisoft was the latest publisher to say that they were not going to attend E3, and there were some rumors, some speculation that E3 2023 could be canceled, and this is what just transpired about an hour or so ago. Yeah, I'm shocked. Well, you know what? No, let me take that back. I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked by this. I'm not shocked because I guess the shock for me is that we haven't had an E3 since 2019. But am I shocked that E3 2023 has been canceled? No. They were partnering. The ESA was partnering with Repop for this, and looking to revitalize E3 after that 3-year hiatus. Now, remember, E3 was canceled in 2020 because of COVID. The pandemic hit. I actually was supposed to go to that E3, and unfortunately didn't get the opportunity to. Actually had already booked my airfare to Los Angeles. I was actually going to room with the Iron Lords, and that just didn't happen, unfortunately, because of the pandemic, because of COVID. So, but this is, I can't say I'm shocked. I mean, there was no E3 last year, although there was other events that were happening, PAX being one of them. No E3, and E3 was set to return this year, 2023, and that's not happening now. And look, there's been some trouble with E3. There's been some there's been some there was the leaking of information by members of the ESA, their personal information, emails, things like that, contact information. That happened. The security breach there, and the way E3 was going to be structured, there was some controversy around that. A lot of some of the content creators and some of the journalists felt like there wasn't enough the ESA maybe necessarily was clear in terms of how they were going to structure having fans attend the event, and then giving journalists and content creators the access they needed to talk to publishers, to play games, things like that. So there were some issues there. There were some issues there, and these things started prior to the pandemic. But I want to go to the article here, and the 2023. Here we go. We go to the top here. E3 2023 has been canceled. The show status has been in doubt since notable publishers started pulling out. And the E3 2023 Electronic Entertainment Expo has been canceled. And actually, IGN was the first to report this. And IGN actually ran the article yesterday about the about E3, Ubisoft pulling out of E3, and then E3 possibly being canceled. So IGN reports that the Entertainment Software Association emailed its members today to let them know the show has been scrapped. So the show has been canceled. The latest update, this was just recently, to confirm this, E3's organizers have now officially confirmed this. RePop and the Entertainment Software Association has announced that both the digital and physical events for E3 2023 are canceled. The statement reads. So there you have it right here. It is official. RePop and the Entertainment Software Association have canceled E3 2023. So it is it's unfortunate. I mean, this is I'm just sitting here shaking my head. Yeah, Matasbo said y'all called it last night. Yes, we talked about this last night on BRAP. We said that E3 was going to be canceled, or may be canceled. I actually don't remember the conversation because I'm old. But we did discuss, so we thought that things weren't looking good for E3. But this is True Virgil says no way. I mean, it just is. What's up, Wolf of Darkness? I mean, this is big. I mean, you think about the importance of E3 to the gaming industry. You think about all the memorable events, E3, all the game reveals, all the console reveals, all the mic drop moments. We talked about the mic drop moments last night on the show. We talked about 1995 E3, where Sony was getting ready to release the PlayStation. They were getting ready to release the PlayStation. And you saw, I'm sorry, hold on just a sec, everyone. All right, my apologies, everyone. Sorry about that. I didn't realize that my dog was outside barking, so I needed to go let her in. So sorry about that. But yeah, I mean, you think about the historical significance impact that E3's had in the gaming industry. You look at the mic drop moments. I was just talking about 1995 when Sega stealth dropped the release of the Sega Saturn, and left retails like gasping, like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, what? We didn't know about this. And they released their price of the Sega Saturn for $399. And Sony comes out on the stage. You could actually see this video, by the way. It's actually a great video. You see Sony come out and say $299. And they just exit stage. So, and then there's the probably for the Xbox community, the infamous game sharing video with Shuei and Adam Boyce. There were memorable E3s when I remember when we saw Halo. I remember, oh my goodness, I remember the seeing the original Xbox. Remember seeing Ninja Gaiden. All the Final Fantasy reveals. Flute Man for Ghost of Tsushima, and the God of War 2018 reveal. I mean, that was wow. Cirxman says, I've said this for years. E3 needs to move their show every year or bi-yearly, so that you motivate more people to the venue and you across the country. By the way, who doesn't remember Peter Moore confirming Halo 2? Remember, he got the Halo tattoo, rolled up his sleeve, and you saw the 2. So those are memorable moments. And E3 was like such a, and I said this on yesterday's show, it was like the holidays, like I used to say, refer to it as Christmas in June, because it was one of the things that you just couldn't wait for. And I remember like, I remember when I was a GameSpot forum moderator. I used to be the Xbox community moderator for GameSpot, the forums at GameSpot, like 20 something years ago. And I remember like a lot of the moderators, and, we would just like, kind of like huddle up and message each other on AOL Messenger and watch the streams. Yeah, Ice Cream Gaming. That was a really great E3 that Sony saw at E3 2016. But I just yeah, I just I just remember just looking forward to seeing what new games were in development, see what's coming down the production pipeline, seeing console releases, seeing new partnerships announced. I mean, it was such an exciting experience, and it just to see this today, to see that E3's been canceled is just wow. If you would have told me in 2019 that E3 would have been canceled, that we wouldn't have an E3 for 3 years, it would just be canceled, I would have like, no, that's not happening. E3 is a staple in the industry, and E3 doesn't appear to be a staple of the industry right now. It just doesn't. And I don't know what I have been thinking about since I've read this official announcement is, can E3 be a thing again? Can the ESA, because this is the trade show for the video game industry. You got to remember, like, people used to go to E3 to order software that was in production that was going to be hitting retail. So retailers would come out and they would see games and they would place their orders, things like that. And then it kind of evolved. Natoni says it's done. You might be right, Natoni. This might be done. I've always thought, and this is what I would do if I was the ESA. I would start doing something like PAX. I would start just having a E3 West and an E3 East, and have that during the year. Have people come out, invite publishers, developers to these events, open it up to media types, content creators, and do something like that. It just, I mean, Jeep says Sony leaving was the beginning of the end. I would say that, geez, I don't, so that didn't help Sony leaving E3, but I think that ship was off to sea already when Nintendo left. It's funny. You remember when we were all making fun of Nintendo? No, I should say we all were, but many people were kind of scratching their head when Nintendo said, we're not going to do E3 anymore. We're just going to do our Nintendo Direct. We're going to do a video, a virtual show showing, and look, Nintendo hasn't skipped a beat. I mean, Nintendo, they lay the blueprint down. They showed everyone how to do it. Hey, you don't have to spend money. You don't have to spend millions. You don't have to spend millions to to show off your games. You could just put out a video now. You could blast it out to the internet, on YouTube, on Twitch. You can reach millions of people that way. And it's worked. And then Sony said, "You know what? We're not going either. We don't think it's worth our while." And look what Sony's done. Sony, they had the Sony fan events, but they haven't had one of those in a while. But Sony was doing they were doing their own state of plays and showcases, and that's worked well for them. Microsoft's kind of hung around, but they weren't going to be on the have a floor presence at E3. They were going to do their own thing, but they weren't going to have any floor presence. Matasmo says, it's sad to see E3 gone. It was a great experience. Lots of memories. I think a lot of companies, game makers, realize that having online smaller shows is much more cost effective, possibly. I would agree with that. I think that's probably the case. I mean, I don't know the cost of, flying people out and, the cost of having floor space, the cost of setting up booth. I would imagine, my guess is that's probably more expensive than, having, some developers get together and maybe sit at their own studios, record, clips of, them discussing whatever game it is they're working on, and putting that all together, piecemealing that, putting that all together, and then releasing that on something like YouTube. It's probably cheaper, I would imagine, and have that video reach millions of people, or they have the ability to reach millions of people. I do think that the days of the big stage, the big, just that big, like, stage presentation and coming out and announcing it, maybe that's gone now. I mean, I personally think that's gone now, because you don't need to do that anymore. You could easily have an impact without having to fly your staff out there, or your colleagues, and rent out a theater. For Microsoft, you don't have to do that, but create a stage that costs money. I mean, you could do something on a smaller scale and potentially have the same impact by doing something digital. I think I would argue that maybe Nintendo and Sony have done that. Tony says, maybe, I don't know, man. The allure to the event is gone now. It's all digital. They have the ability to drop demos and whole games anytime in every platform now. Yeah, they do. I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, like, the internet allows these developers potentially to drop demos where people can show off demos of games and say, hey, look, you know what? You want to access this demo, go to your Xbox, PlayStation, or PC, or whatever the case is, and down the game's up for demo now, for trial for a limited time. I mean, Keeley's Summer Games Fest has been pretty much a digital event. JFK TV. Oh, it's canceled. It's canceled officially. Yes, it is. Bitrate Brawler says, unfortunately, online, while mostly beneficial, has had a lot, has also had its negative effects. Just curious, Bitrate Brawler, how do you think it's had negative effects? I'm just curious to kind of get your point of view on that. 47 says people want information faster in a convenient manner. I don't disagree with that. That people want access to information at their fingertips, and that's what the internet can do. But I think there's one part I've talked to people that have gone to E3, and I think the one thing that the digital showcases can't replicate is that camaraderie, that level of or that ability to network with people that that you've met either on Twitter, that you've met on podcasts, that or meeting new individuals, making those connections, networking. That's kind of lost a little bit. I haven't been to a PAX East, but there's some networking involved there, from my understanding. But is it? I wonder if it's at the same level as an E3. I remember people, being at the Sony event. And you see, I mean, I missed that. I remember the reactions, and I would say probably more so at the Sony events. Just the excitement, the reaction. I mean, just as a gamer, it got you hyped, it got you excited. I don't get really excited like that. Like when you hear that crowd reaction, like it just adds to the level of enthusiasm. You see the excitement, you see people standing up. I mean, I remember seeing some of the videos of I remember Halo 2. I remember Halo 2, like when Peter Moore rolled up his sleeve. Like I was watching the stream. I wasn't there, but I remember people getting up and screaming, and it was so exciting. As a gamer, it was so exciting. Oh, Bitrate Brawl says overall societal effect: malls closing, retail brick and mortars closing, less human interaction, meetups. Yeah, I mean, I see your point. I just don't know. The malls thing's kind of interesting because like we still have malls where I live, and actually one of the malls I grew up going to as a youngster, and probably into my my late teens, early 20s, is closing tomorrow. Actually, it's a mall that where I met Tony Hawk when he was part of the Bones Brigade. He used to skate for Powell Peralta. This is 1987, and Tony Hawk was fairly young then. I think he's in his 50s now, but I met Tony Hawk. He's probably like 19 or 20, I think, at the time. I mean, I was. Yeah, he was about 20. I think Tony Hawk was like 19 or 20 when I met him, and this was at this mall that's closing. But the brick and but there's still brick and mortar. Again, I don't know. I don't know, how much of societal effect has, had an actual impact on retail. I mean, I'm not saying it's had zero impact, but I don't know. I think that's an interesting point to bring up, Bitrate Brawler. And that could be kind of, the effect at E3, maybe that you don't have to interact with people to have a show, right? I mean, we saw that with Jeff Keighley and his Summer Games Fest. We've seen that with Nintendo, Sony. Yeah, that is old school, Def Floyd. Paul's Gaming says maybe if Microsoft gets ABK, they could turn BlizzCon to a big event for all things Xbox. I mean, maybe. That'd be cool to see that. I mean, I'd like to see kind of a BlizzCon Xbox thing. That would be cool. One of my cousins actually went to BlizzCon. He'd actually been twice. He loved it. I've never been, but he loved it. He said it was awesome. Bulbrook Contra says, bro, Trump just got a taste of reality. Okay, I didn't see that. Must be breaking. He must have been indicted. But yeah, as I'm looking at this headline here, I'm still like, I'm almost like I shouldn't be in disbelief because, given the news yesterday and the trouble the ESA's had the last couple of years, but it's look, the part of the nostalgia, part of that I'm holding on to E3. I hope it comes back, but I don't think it will. I think it's done. I don't. I think the days of, like I said, the big stage, the big stage presentations, and I think those days are gone. I just I think, again, and I said this earlier, I think that if they are going to come back, revitalize E3, that it should take the form of something like a PAX East, where it's very fan driven too. It's an opportunity for publishers and developers to show off games that they're working on, let the fans get their hands on the games. And they should have it different locations in the US. LA was such a turnoff for me because I live on the other side of the East Coast. So I was kind of like, oh my God, I got to fly out to LA. But have in E3 actually used to also take place in Atlanta, Georgia as well. Yeah, Jeeve says writings on the wall. Still shocked though. Yeah. Yeah, the Killzone 2 fake trailer. Yep. Yeah, I think that's what I think if E3 is going to stick around, I think that's probably the route that you should take. I think they should look at doing something like PAX East, PAX West, whatever, PAX, right? You just have it rotate different cities, or maybe have it like East Coast one and then like a, West Coast one, and have it focused on, fans, that fan experience. Yeah, Human Type Person says, what timing with this? You guys were just talking about this last night. Yeah, we were. And we were, and I don't think any of us were predicting that we get the actual official cancellation of E3 2023. That's just, I'm still in shock. There was a hashtag going around Twitter, rest in peace E3. Yeah, Paul's gaming. Like, you're right, man. Like the pop from the crowd. That's what I'm like. That was, oh my, I'm gonna miss that. I don't even know if that's even possible anymore. You would need to, I mean, you would have to get like Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo back. I don't think that's happening. I think once they left, the writing was on the wall. I think it was only a matter of time. Once Nintendo and then Sony, it was only a matter of time. I mean, good for Microsoft for keeping some presence there. But, and I remember people saying, oh my God, Sony leaving is a huge mistake. It's going to give Microsoft a huge opportunity to control the narrative and it's going to give them an opportunity to take away mind share, and that none of that happened, by the way. and this was mostly coming from the more extremists or the more diehard Xbox fan podcasts that were like, this is a huge mistake, and Sony's giving the stage to Microsoft, and Xbox is going to kill it, and none of that happened. By the way, and not to pick on the hardcore diehard Xbox fan podcast, but whatever they say on their shows, the opposite always happens. It's almost like Michael Pachter. Just remember that. and that was one of the things I remember, that talking point. They're going to give them the, PlayStation's giving Microsoft mind share, and that's going to help Xbox and grabbing market share. No. What's up, Worrywart? Get back to work. I did work today. Oh, Lexington. Worry. Oh my God, Lexington Steel. He did that tattoo. That's right, Paul's Gaming. But yeah, those things, those predictions by some of those shows, they never came true. They just didn't. Because at the end of the day, it's really simple. I mean, and I feel like sometimes podcasts overcomplicate gaming. It's all about deliverables. It's all about deliverables. It's always been about deliverables. It's the reason why Nintendo and Sony are in the position they are in the marketplace, because they are good at delivering software that resonates with majority of the consumer base. Matty B says good riddance. Well, I guess there's some people out there that aren't disappointed or saddened by the news of E3 2023 being canceled. I was looking forward to this year's E3 to see what developers were going to show, and it's not happening. And now look, you got Summer Games Fest with Jeff Keighley. You don't even have to have a show. Just meet up with Jeff, have an interview, throw a trailer up on the screen. You're good. You're out. You don't have to walk on stage and present and spend a lot of money. You just meet with Jeff. You meet with Jeff for a little bit, have a conversation with him, shake hands, show your game, and you're out. And you know, potentially millions of people are watching that presentation. I forget what the let me actually, I'm going to look something up here real quick. I want to look at some of the viewing, look up viewership here for Summer Games Fest. All right, you see that Summer Games Fest was also streamed by other media sites. Like I'm looking at like the Starfield official gameplay trailer. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's not it. I'm looking at Easy Allies reactions to Summer Games Fest 2021 kickoff, 72,000 views. I'm looking at the showcase reactions from Kind of Funny 9 months ago for the Summer Games Fest, 47,000 views. I'm looking at the Summer Games Fest June 9th official live stream, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Street Fighter 6, 1.7 million views. Yeah, and actually, so this was June 9th, 2022, Summer Games Fest official live stream, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Street Fighter 6, and more. So this stream, there was, let's see here, featuring Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the Callisto Protocol, Cuphead, One Piece Odyssey, Gotham Knights, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, so much more. So he's, again, now this, look at the numbers here. Now, obviously, this was 9 months ago. I get that, but still, 1.7 million views. The Game Awards, which streams the Summer Games Fest, has 695,000 subs, almost a million. So doing something digital gives you the opportunity to have your game potentially viewed by that many people. And that's incredible. Paul, I don't, is it good that it's centralized around him? I don't have an issue with it. I think Jeff's done a good job at, piecing together an alternative. I think Jeff probably saw maybe, Jeff probably, Jeff used to cover E3 a lot and was at E3, and, he remember Jeff used to do the video game awards too before he did his own game award show. But he's been around the industry, and I would imagine Jeff probably saw the opportunity to do something digital as an alternative to E3 to be able to reach even more people. I mean, because that's the advantage of digital. You have all these people watching, and again, I know that, Sony and Microsoft would stream their showings, but, but having, these developers and, different time slots where you're showing off different, games, I think there's something to be said for that. perhaps gives people the flexibility, kind of pick and choose what they want to see instead of sitting through an entire show waiting for something, you know? No gamer BO. That was actually a problem there at E3, what I understand. So, yeah. So, one of the things I'm going to talk about, and actually, this is going to be my next BRAP rant. I'm probably gonna do a rant on Saturday, um, and I'm going to talk about PlayStation VR2 because there's some interesting articles around the performance of PSVR 2, and one analyst saying Sony may need to drop the price of the PSVR 2 um, to avoid a disaster. I think there's a lot of context missing from that story, so I'm going to talk about that in my next rant. That's probably going to happen uh, probably some point Saturday, or I may just record a video and just maybe release it this weekend. But anyway, keep an eye out for that because yeah, that was kind of an interesting news item that came about today, and I was kind of like scratching my head a little bit. Look, I think there's um I think, and I'll just give you my personal opinion on this. Before, I think it's a little bit too early to kind of jump the gun on whether or not they need to lower price of the PlayStation VR2. But I'm going to talk about that and some of the additional context that was missing by some of the conversations that were happening on Twitter and by some of the reporting of it, but too, by the way. So I'll talk about that. But yeah, again, sad to see E3 2023 being canceled. I hope the ESA can figure this out. But I do think the days of those big stage presentations, I think those days are gone. I just don't see it happening. I think that the bang for your buck of doing a digital show just outweighs the cost of having a show live and in person, and the logistics of putting that all together. And I get it, especially today as companies are initiating cost initiatives with the uncertainty of the economy here in the U.S. That's happening. Companies are cost cutting right now. So, and I wonder how much of that played into the decision by a lot of publishers to pull out too of E3. Do we want to? I mean, you believe it or not, companies have cut back on on travel. So, but those are my thoughts on E3 2023. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. If you think that E3 is just done, this is it. Stick a fork in it. It's done. Or if you think the ESA maybe has an opportunity to revive E3, and if you think that, let me know how you think they could revitalize E3, how they could bring it back. I think that's going to be hard to do, and with the way we knew E3, without having the big console manufacturers having some kind of stage presence there. I don't see how that works. I do think though that maybe they could do something more PAX like I said earlier, but we'll see. And I'm sure we'll learn more as this story develops. We'll probably get some more insight into why publishers pulled out of E3 2023 this year, and what and maybe what the ESA has planned moving forward. That's going to be interesting to hear from them. So hopefully we'll learn more in the coming days. But look, everyone, thank you so much for hanging out with me. This is a very impromptu live stream. Like I said, I wasn't anticipating doing a podcast today. Like, I wasn't in my plans, but because we were talking about this yesterday on BRAP, when we had it's Alex, Game Logic, and Reforge Gaming, Lono on. I just felt like, okay, it makes sense to talk about this, to do a live stream, because we literally were talking about this last night. And by the way, if you didn't catch yesterday's live stream, I'm going to drop a link here in the chat. Please check out yesterday's show. It was an amazing show. I think you're going to enjoy it. Some great conversation around this particular topic. Great conversation around. We actually talked about some of the games that are released in 2023 so far, and how the 2023 has just been a really solid year for game releases. And seemingly no one seems to be talking about that much. The focus seems to be on that deal that should remain nameless. But we talked a lot about some of the games that we played in 2023 that we've enjoyed so far, and some of the upcoming games too that are coming out in 2023. 2023 is stacked. We also talked about The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, the new footage that Nintendo revealed early in the week. And then we also talked about the congressional leaders complaining about Japan and Sony making it difficult for Xbox to compete in Japan, in the Japanese gaming market. So definitely check out that show. I did drop a link in their live chat. So go over there after you're done listening here, check it out. And do me a favor, smash that like button if you're new. Subscribe, hit the bell notifications so you're alerted when we go live. And if you haven't done so already, also give me a follow on the Twitters at BRAP_podcast. That's the best place to connect with me on social media, to talk all things gaming and to get updates on Basement Radio Arcade podcast content. So thank you everyone so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And keep an eye out for that video that I'm going to be doing on PSVR 2. Again, I don't know if I'm going to do a live rant on that or if I'm just going to release a video, but either way, just keep an eye out for that on the channel. So thank you again. We'll catch you next time.